as you guys are coming in that you can hear me and see me. I'm pretty sure that you can. This is some exclusive tea that I got a little while back.
There's a huge difference in energy internationally in 50 Cent and Jay-Z.
Let's dive into one of the most heated and controversial rivalries in the entertainment world, the long-standing feud between 50 Cent and Jay-Z, which has recently been reignited with some shocking accusations. This isn't just a case of professional competition. It's something much deeper. It's about power, influence, and the hidden lives of some of the most famous people on the planet. And trust us, the layers to this story are wild.
Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do documentaries.
So let's start with 50 Cent's ongoing beef with Jay-Z, a feud that's been brewing for over 2 decades, but has taken on a much darker tone recently. We all know 50 Cent loves to stir the pot, but this time, he's not just throwing out casual insults or playful jabs. Nope, 50 Cent is claiming that Jay-Z's polished high society image, the one he's so carefully crafted over the years, is nothing but a facade. And he's hinting that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what the public sees. Now, if you've been following 50 Cent for any amount of time, you know he's never been shy about speaking his mind, especially when it comes to calling out other rappers. But his latest digs at Jay-Z, they're on another level. He's taking aim at everything from Jay's personal style to his connections within the entertainment industry, and the rumors he's stirring up are enough to make anyone raise an eyebrow. One of the most talked about moments recently was when 50 Cent called out Jay-Z's obsession with Jean-Michel Basquiat, the famous artist known for his wild, free-spirited style. Jay has been rocking Basquiat-inspired looks for a while, particularly the artist's signature dreadlocks, which Jay has adopted in recent years. Now, to most people, this might just seem like a harmless fashion statement, a nod to a legendary artist. But 50 Cent, he sees it as something much more calculated. In fact, he said that Jay-Z is deliberately trying to come off as this highbrow, artsy intellectual, all while distancing himself from his gritty, streetwise persona that made him famous in the first place.
He imaged himself after a gay painter. The big homie wanted to look like a gay painter.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Basquiat.
50 Cent didn't hold back when he shaded Jay's new look, even going as far as to say that Jay-Z is trying to look like a homosexual painter. And listen, 50 knew exactly what he was doing with that comment. It wasn't just about Jay's appearance. It was a direct shot at Jay-Z's entire image, suggesting that he's no longer the same rapper who came up hustling in the streets of Brooklyn. Instead, 50 is throwing out the idea that Jay-Z has become someone completely different, someone who's more concerned with looking sophisticated and aligning himself with the art world than staying true to his roots in hip-hop. For 50 Cent, this shift is a betrayal of what the culture stands for. He's implying that Jay-Z's transformation is less about personal growth and more about playing a part that makes him look good in the eyes of the elite. And if there's one thing 50 Cent can't stand, it's the idea of someone being fake. He's built his entire career on being unapologetically raw and real, so it's no surprise that he's taking shots at Jay-Z for what he sees as a phony transformation. But the Basquiat thing is just the tip of the iceberg. What's really got people talking is 50 Cent's not-so-subtle hints that there's something dark lurking behind Jay-Z's carefully curated public persona. And a lot of this has to do with Jay-Z's long-standing ties to Diddy, another music mogul who's been making headlines for all the wrong reasons lately.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did...
Let's not forget that 50 Cent has had his own issues with Diddy over the years. In fact, their feud goes way back, with 50 Cent often making jokes about Diddy's wild parties and questionable behavior. But recently, things have taken a much more serious turn. With all the allegations and investigations swirling around Diddy right now, 50 Cent has been quick to draw connections between Diddy's actions and those in his inner circle, an inner circle that, let's be real, includes Jay-Z's and Beyoncé.
I came here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
Now, before we go any further, let's talk about these infamous celebrity gatherings. Diddy has been known for throwing some of the most extravagant and exclusive parties in the entertainment world. We're talking about over-the-top events where only the biggest names are invited and where, according to rumors, anything goes. These parties have always been shrouded in mystery, with whispers of what really happens behind closed doors. And 50 Cent? Well, he's more than happy to fan the flames of speculation. At one point, 50 Cent even recounted his own awkward experience at one of Diddy's parties. He's been pretty vocal about how he felt uncomfortable with the vibe, hinting that there was something off about the whole scene. And while 50 didn't go into too much detail about what exactly made him feel weird, he's dropped enough hints to suggest that these parties might not be as innocent as they seem. In fact, he's implied that there's a lot more going on at these gatherings, things that the public would never know about.
This is very significant just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
What's even more interesting is that 50 Cent has been using Diddy's current legal problems to fuel his narrative. With Diddy facing some serious allegations right now, 50 is hinting that anyone associated with him, including Jay-Z, might not be as squeaky clean as they appear. He's suggested that Jay-Z's close relationship with Diddy could mean he's been involved, or at the very least, aware of some shady dealings that the public doesn't know about. And it's not just Diddy's behavior that's being called into question. 50 Cent has also hinted that Jay-Z's own actions might not be as above board as his public image suggests. He's pointed out that Jay-Z has been involved in some pretty high-profile scandals over the years, from his infamous elevator fight with Solange to his more recent business ventures that have raised eyebrows. For 50 Cent, all of this adds up to a pattern of behavior that doesn't quite match up with the image Jay-Z tries to project. But perhaps the most explosive part of all this is 50 Cent's suggestion that Jay-Z and Beyonce's relationship might not be as picture-perfect as it seems. Now, we all know that Jay-Z and Beyonce have been through their fair share of drama over the years, most notably with the Cole Becky with the good hair scandal that rocked the internet a few years back. But according to 50 Cent, there's a lot more to their relationship than what we see on the surface.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed, right?
He's hinted that Jay-Z's connections to figures like Diddy and the wild parties that come with them might have had a bigger impact on his marriage than people realize. And while Jay and Bey have always presented a united front in public, 50 Cent seems to think that behind closed doors, things might be a little more complicated. In fact, he suggested that Beyonce might be more aware of Jay-Z's questionable behavior than she lets on, but that she's choosing to stay quiet for the sake of appearances. This is where things get really interesting. Because if there's one thing Beyoncé is known for besides her incredible talent, it's her ability to control her public image. She's famously private, rarely giving interviews or letting people into her personal life. But 50 Cent is throwing out the idea that even Beyoncé, with all her power and influence, might be caught up in something she can't fully control. He's hinted that she might be complicit in keeping certain secrets hidden, or at the very least, choosing to look the other way when it comes to Jay-Z's actions. And let's not forget that Beyoncé has been linked to Diddy's world as well. There are plenty of photos and stories of her attending some of these exclusive parties, which only adds to the speculation that she might know more than she's letting on. 50 Cent has even suggested that Beyoncé's decision to stay silent on certain issues, particularly when it comes to Diddy's recent troubles, could be a sign that she's trying to protect herself and her family from getting dragged into the scandal.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, sexual assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
Now, whether or not any of these rumors are true, one thing is clear. 50 Cent is determined to keep the spotlight on Jay-Z and Beyoncé, and he's not backing down anytime soon. His comments have sparked a firestorm of speculation, with fans and critics alike wondering just how much truth there is to his claims. And with Diddy's legal issues continuing to unfold, it's only a matter of time before more details come to light. What's even more fascinating is how this feud between 50 Cent and Jay-Z has evolved over the years. It started out as a battle for dominance in the hip-hop world, but now it's become something much bigger. It's not just about who's got the better bars or the bigger bank account anymore. It's about power, influence, and the lengths people will go to in order to protect their image. In many ways, 50 Cent is positioning himself as the ultimate truth teller, the guy who's not afraid to call out the biggest names in the industry, no matter the consequences. And while some might see him as just stirring up drama for the sake of it, there's no denying that his words are hitting a nerve. People are paying attention, and they're starting to ask questions that Jay-Z and Beyoncé might not want to answer.
The Genius shoe outsold the Sean Carter shoe 6-1. I made over $80 million during the RBK time.
And that's where things get really juicy. Because if 50 Cent is right, and there's more to this story than meets the eye, then we could be looking at one of the biggest scandals to ever hit the entertainment industry. The idea that two of the most powerful and beloved figures in music might have skeletons in their closet is enough to send shockwaves through the entire industry. But for now, we're left with more questions than answers. How deep do Jay-Z's connections to Diddy really go? What does Beyoncé know? And how much is she willing to overlook to keep her empire intact? And most importantly, what's 50 Cent's endgame in all of this? Is he genuinely trying to expose the truth? Or is this just another chapter in his long-running rivalry with Jay-Z? Whatever the case, one thing's for sure. This feud is far from over. And with each new revelation, the stakes just keep getting higher. And now, let's pivot to the second major piece of this puzzle, the whispers surrounding Beyoncé's role in all of this. With all the rumors flying around about Jay-Z's connections and the potential fallout from Diddy's legal issues, some are starting to wonder if Beyoncé is quietly distancing herself from all the drama. Could Queen Bey, who's fiercely protective of her image, be taking steps to shield herself from any potential scandal? I mean, let's be real. In the world of celebrity gossip, when the heat turns up, survival often comes down to how well you can manage your reputation. And Beyoncé, she's a master at it.
What I've heard about them as a couple is that they've been living separate lives for a very long time.
Let's not forget, Beyoncé isn't just any celebrity. She's built her entire brand on being untouchable. Her fans, the Bayhive, see her as this powerful, flawless figure who can do no wrong. But even the strongest brands can be vulnerable when there's controversy brewing behind the scenes. And the rumors surrounding Jay-Z's connections to some unsavory characters, not to mention the wild parties and questionable behavior reported over the years, could definitely be something she's trying to keep at arm's length. One of the most interesting things to consider here is just how private Beyoncé and Jay-Z have always been about their personal lives. They rarely give interviews, and when they do, it's often carefully controlled. Even when they went through that whole public scandal with Jay-Z's alleged infidelities, which, let's be honest, was a massive deal at the time, they managed to handle it in a way that made them look even stronger as a couple. Remember how they used their albums to tell their side of the story? Beyoncé dropped Lemonade, which was all about betrayal and forgiveness, and then Jay-Z followed up with 444, where he basically admitted to his mistakes. It was like they were controlling the narrative, turning what could have been a PR disaster into a moment of empowerment. But here's the thing. The rumors swirling around now are a lot more complicated than just a cheating scandal. 50 Cent has been dropping hints that Jay-Z's close ties to Diddy, and by extension, the wild Hollywood scene that Diddy is known for, could be a much bigger issue for the power couple. And the fact that Beyoncé has stayed completely silent on the matter, that's got people talking. Is she staying quiet because she doesn't want to get dragged into the mess? Or is she quietly preparing to distance herself from it all if things get worse?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight.
What's really interesting is that behind the scenes, there are whispers that Beyoncé might be rethinking her loyalty to Jay-Z. Now, this is purely speculation, but when you look at how carefully she's managed her career and image over the years, it wouldn't be surprising if she's considering her next move. After all, Beyoncé is not just a music icon. She's a businesswoman, and her reputation is one of her most valuable assets. If these rumors about Jay-Z's connections to Diddy's world start to gain more traction, it could be very damaging to her brand.
There's no vindication for me because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
And here's where things get even juicier. Some insiders have suggested that Beyoncé has already started taking steps to protect herself. There's been talk that she's been quietly distancing herself from Jay-Z behind the scenes, possibly preparing for the fallout if more allegations come to light. We've seen her make a few solo moves recently, appearances without Jay, projects that focus more on her own legacy than their combined empire. Could this be a sign that she's setting herself up to stand on her own if things go south? It's hard to say for sure, but given how calculated Beyoncé is, it wouldn't be surprising.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean.
Now, let's talk about 50 Cent's role in all of this because he's been very vocal about what he sees as the real story behind Jay-Z and Beyoncé's relationship. According to 50, Beyoncé has always been fiercely protective of Jay-Z stepping in whenever his reputation is under threat. But now, some are wondering if she's finally had enough. After all, being tied to someone who's connected to scandals and controversial figures like Diddy could be a huge liability, especially if you're someone like Beyoncé, who's worked so hard to maintain a spotless public image. 50 Cent has been dropping some pretty wild comments about this whole situation, hinting that Beyoncé might not always be as loyal as she seems. He suggested that she's well aware of Jay-Z's connections and behavior, but has chosen to stay silent, at least up until now. And while 50 Cent loves to stir the pot, there's no denying that his comments have got people thinking. Could Beyoncé be quietly preparing to walk away from all of this? Is she willing to risk her empire just to stand by Jay-Z?
You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter.
One thing's for sure, Beyoncé is a master at controlling her narrative. She's not the type to air her dirty laundry in public, and she's certainly not going to let anyone tarnish her legacy without a fight. But if the rumors about Jay-Z's connections to Diddy's world continue to grow, she might find herself in a position where staying silent is no longer an option. And when that moment comes, you can bet that Beyoncé will handle it in true Queen Bey fashion, with grace, power, and a plan that leaves everyone else in the dust. But let's not forget that this isn't just about Beyoncé's image. It's also about her personal life. We've seen over the years how deeply she values her family and her marriage, despite the ups and downs. So if she's truly considering distancing herself from Jay-Z, it's likely a decision that goes beyond business. Could it be that the rumors about Diddy's parties and Jay-Z's involvement are hitting too close to home? Or is Beyoncé simply making a smart move to protect herself from any potential scandal?
A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years.
It's also worth mentioning that Beyoncé has a lot of powerful people in her corner. Her mother, Tina Knowles, has always been a strong advocate for her daughter, and you better believe that if Beyoncé was in any kind of trouble, Tina would be the first one to step in. And let's not forget about Beyoncé's legal team. They're some of the best in the business. And if there's any chance that Beyoncé could be implicated in any of the scandals surrounding Diddy and Jay-Z, you can bet they're already working behind the scenes to make sure she stays protected.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come?
In fact, there are rumors that Beyoncé's legal team has been keeping a very close eye on everything that's been happening with Diddy's legal troubles. Some have even suggested that they've been quietly advising her to distance herself from anyone connected to the scandal, including Jay-Z, to make sure her name stays out of the headlines. And while it's all just speculation at this point, it wouldn't be surprising if Beyoncé is already one step ahead, preparing for whatever might come next. And speaking of legal troubles, let's not forget about Diddy's current situation. With the serious allegations he's facing, it's no wonder that those in his inner circle, including Jay-Z and Beyoncé, are being scrutinized more closely than ever. 50 Cent has been relentless in his attacks on Diddy, and he's made it clear that he thinks there are many more secrets waiting to be uncovered. He's even hinted that Jay-Z might not be as innocent as he appears and that his connections to Diddy could end up being a huge problem for both him and Beyoncé.
Understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on watch.
What's really interesting here is how 50 Cent is positioning himself as the guy who's willing to expose the truth, no matter the consequences. He's been going after Diddy for years, mocking him for everything from his wild parties to his business decisions. But now, with Diddy facing real legal problems, 50 Cent seems more determined than ever to bring down not just Diddy, but anyone who's connected to him. And that includes Jay-Z and Beyoncé. So what do you guys think? Is Beyoncé really distancing herself from Jay-Z behind the scenes? Or is this all just another round of rumors? And how deep do you think Jay-Z's connections to Diddy really go? Could this be the beginning of the end for one of music's most powerful couples? Or will they find a way to weather the storm once again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, because this is one story that's far from over.